Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Jamie. Let's get crafting. For this first DIY, I'm taking these 3 Dollar Tree signs and I'm going to remove the Santa, the reindeer, and the snowman. And as cute as these signs are on their own, they need to be removed. But it's okay, I'm going to save those for another DIY. Next thing I do is I remove the hangers, and these are only held on by staples, so they remove really easy, and they leave a little bit of a lift, so I just go in with my sanding sponge and I just sand that nice and smooth. Next, I'm just going to flip my signs over and then line them up so they're nice and even, and then I'm going to take some jumbo popsicle sticks that I had picked up over at Walmart. I think they were like $1, and so I'm just going to take 8 of them, and then I'm going to hot glue these down. Now, if you want to give the back of this a more finished look and hide all this ugliness, you can go ahead and take some of Dollar Tree's craft paper and hot glue this down to the back. Next, I'm going to use my Truffle chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to give my sign one coat. Next, I'm going in with the Chiffon Cream chalk paint by Rustoleum, and I'm going to give this one coat. My husband had ordered this paint tool for me off of Amazon, and this thing is so cool because it creates a wood grain look on your projects that don't naturally have a wood grain. This was so super easy and fun to use. All you do is paint one color, like I already did, light or dark color, it doesn't matter, and then you let that paint dry completely like we already did. And then you go in with a second color, and while that color is still wet, you run your wood grain tool over the top of the paint like you see me doing right now. And you rock it back and forth while you run it across, creating wood knots. This video is not sponsored at all by the company that makes this. I just really wanted to share with y'all how cool this thing is. So if you like wood grain look, I'm going to leave you a link to this in the description box. I think the kit my husband had gotten me was like $16, but it came with this tool and a roller. So next time I'm going to have to try out the roller. And because you have to use this while the paint is still wet, that's why I didn't paint the bottom of this just yet, because chalk paint dries so super fast, and I didn't want to mess this up, so I only painted part of it, used the tool, and then now you can see me, I'm painting the bottom of this. So while it's still wet, you're going to see I'm going to finish this off with the tool. And this was a lot of fun, and I love how this turned out. So the next thing I do, I just take one of Dollar Tree's reindeers, and I'm not taking the glitter off of this. Haha, surprise! I'm just going to use some hot glue, and I'm going to glue this down to my board. Then I'm just taking one of the scraps that I happen to have on hand. I'm going to remove the little plastic piece that was left on it, and I'm going to hot glue this down. I'm actually going to trim it a little bit because it's a little long, because I want to put this around the reindeer's neck. And so I'm just going to trim it with a good pair of wire cutters, and then I'm going to hot glue this down to his neck. Then I'm just going to hot glue 5 of these little Dollar Tree red bells onto that greenery, and then this project is done. This video is in collaboration with my good friend Kathy Jo over at Kraftin with Kathy Jo. She is so sweet. She has some fantastic DIYs. She does anything from farmhouse, boho, industrial, and seasonal decor. Let me tell you, she'll give you a good laugh. Her and I had decided on a reindeer theme collab, so after this video, go on over and check her out. Her video will be linked down in the description box below. For this next DIY, I'm using two of these extra large painter sticks that I think I had picked up for like $1 over at the hardware store. They're about 14 inches long, but I'm going to take these outside, use my chop saw, and these are going to give me 8 of 3-inch wood pieces, and that's what I did. So then I also took a drill bit and I create a hole at the top because these are going to become ornaments. So then I decided that I wanted to give these a good sanding, and so I started out using 80 grit sandpaper, and I started to do this by hand. Now you can do this, that would be fine, but this got really tiring, so I ended up going outside and using my palm sander. And once that was all done, I decided to go in with my Waverly white chalk paint, and I gave each one of these one coat on all sides. Once that paint was dry, I went in with a black paint marker and I wrote down the names of Santa's reindeer, one name on each block. But now for Rudolph, instead of writing his name, I decided to kind of draw a picture of his face on this. And I know that the eyes are looking a little feminine with the eyelashes, but we're just going to ignore that part. And then I used a red Sharpie pen that I had, and I do end up going in with some crimson red paint with that because that was just not dark enough. So the hole that I drilled earlier needed to be a little bit bigger, so I had to use a bigger drill bit. So right now I'm just showing you that I did that, and then because there was some wood, I took my sander and I sanded on top of that, so that gave these little pieces a little bit more of a distressed look. So now to create a hanger for this, I'm just taking some jute twine and I cut a chunk of it and I'm slipping it in through the back, making a loop, going in through the loop, and then I'm going to slip some beads through the twine and then I'm going to tie it at the end. But if you watch what I'm doing here, you can see what I'm doing better than I can explain it. Then I decided that Rudolph needed a little something extra special on his ornament, so I'm deciding to take a fine paintbrush and some of that Christmas green acrylic paint, and I am going to paint mistletoe. So I'm drawing out the leaves, and then I'm going to go in with the crimson red paint and doing a red bow. For this DIY, I'm taking one of Dollar Tree's boxes, and I don't want that half circle on the top there, so I'm going to use my box cutter. I'm going to score the edge of it there, and I'm just going to break it off. Now this took a little extra effort, so be careful with this. After I was done sanding that rough edge, I just go ahead and use a little bit of force and pop out the backing. Next, I'm going to use this fabric that I had picked up from Hobby Lobby a year ago, and I'm just going to cut a square out of it, and then I'm just going to Mod Podge this fabric onto the backing. Once the Mod Podge was completely dry, I just went in with some 80 grit sandpaper and I sanded those edges to give it a clean cut. Now you could cut this with scissors if you want to. The option is yours. Now I know this was white already, but I wanted to give it a fresh coat of paint. Once that was good and dry, it was time to reattach the back of this using some hot glue. Last thing to do was take this Dollar Tree Christmas ornament and I just removed the tag and then hot glue this to the center of the project. And then this was all done. For the fourth and final DIY, I have these two wood rounds here, and I couldn't decide which one I wanted to use. That one there is pretty light, but I decided I wanted to use the one with the butterfly instead. But because I don't want that butterfly to show, I need to paint it. So I go in with some elephant chalk paint by Waverly, and I gave it one coat. Next, I use the white chalk paint and I just give this a kind of a dry brushing, a sloppy coat of the white chalk paint over top. I didn't want this to have full coverage. I wanted some of that gray to show through. I had picked these stickers up over at Hobby Lobby last year, and so I'm just going to use one of these stickers and I'm going to place it down on my wood round. Using that crimson chalk paint again, I'm going to write the words Merry Christmas on the bottom. First, I'm going to write this out with pencil, and then I'm going to go in with the paint. Then, to seal it all in, I just go in with one coat of Mod Podge. I had picked up these mini wreaths over at the Target dollar spot, and I'm just going to use one of them. I'm going to take the little string off of it. I'm going to remove the bow, but I'm saving it because I'm going to just reposition it. But I'm going to go use those really good wire cutters, and I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to trim it down a little bit because I really want this wreath to look like it's hanging around the deer's neck. And I'm just going to attach it using some hot glue. Once I have that down, I'm going to reattach the bow, add some jute string, and then this project is all finished. I want to thank y'all so much for being here. If you're new, welcome. Please hit that like button. It really helps my channel to grow. And if you enjoy these DIYs, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. Also, don't forget to check out Kathy Jo and see what she has in store for you. And y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye.